Imagine this. You wake one morning and the world is empty. The streets are silent. No voices, no animals, no laughter, no sign of life. Just you, standing in the wreckage of a vanished kingdom. This isn't the start of a Netflix apocalypse series or the next Last of Us. This is a story written in Wales over 1,000 years ago, the third branch of the Mabinogi. A tale of survivors, of traps spun from grief and revenge, and of one man's cunning, breaking a curse no sword could cut. Today we walk with Manawydan, a survivor of war and brother of Bran the Blessed, alongside Rhiannon, a queen we've met before, though her trials are far from over. Together with Pryderi and his wife Cigfa, they will step into enchantment so strange and so terrifying that even now it feels like the blueprint for every horror story since. And if you're new here, don't worry. You don't need to know the earlier branches to follow this tale. But if you want to explore deeper, we've already told the stories of the first and second branches right here. So settle in. Remember to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss when another Welsh legend stirs from the shadows. Because this is where the Mabinogi turns from legend into nightmare. To understand the weight of this story, we need to linger on the four people at its heart. First, there is Manawydan ap Llwyr. He is no stranger to devastation. He fought beside his brother Bran the Blessed in the brutal war against Ireland, a war that left thousands dead and Britain itself crippled. Manawydan survived, but survival is not the same as victory. He carries the silence of someone who has seen too much. He is a craftsman, not a conqueror. He is deliberate where others are rash, a thinker rather than a warrior. In many ways, he is the opposite of Bran, smaller in stature, less dramatic, but perhaps stronger for it. He embodies patience, and in this branch, patience is everything. Beside him is Rhiannon, one of the most compelling figures in all of Welsh myth. Once a shining, otherworldly queen, she was humiliated and broken in the first branch, falsely accused of murdering her own child, forced to carry strangers on her back like a beast as punishment. Yet she endured, and when Pryderi, her son, was restored to her, she endured still. She has been silenced, shamed and stripped of dignity, and yet here she stands. A widow now, after the death of Pwyll, she has found a new partner in Manawydan. Their marriage is not just alliance, but resilience. Two survivors bound not by youthful passion, but by hard-won understanding. She is steel wrapped in sorrow, and in this union, steel joined with patience. Then there is Pryderi, her son. We've seen him before too. In the first branch, he was stolen at birth and raised in secret until his miraculous return. In the second branch, he marched to Ireland alongside Bran and Manawydan and lived to come home. Pryderi is no child anymore. He is a young lord, scarred by war, restless and eager to carve his own path. He has the impulsive streak of his father Pwyll and the pride of youth. Both qualities will shape what happens next. Finally, there is Cigfa, Pryderi's wife. She rarely takes centre stage in the myths, and yet here she matters more than most. Cigfa is not born of magic or prophecy. She is human, fragile, untested. In a story where kings, queens and gods clash, she represents the ordinary person, the one dragged into enchantment through no choice of her own. Perhaps that is why she's the most relatable of all. She is us, watching in terror as the world unravels. Together, these four try to rebuild a life in Dyfed. There is joy in their companionship. Rhiannon finding steadiness in Manawydan's wisdom, Pryderi proud of his mother's dignity restored, Cigfa content at her husband's side. There is even laughter, meals shared, hunting trips, evenings of music and story. For a moment, Dyfed feels whole. But then they climb the Gorsedd Narberth, the same hill where destinies unfold, where Pwll once sat and first saw Rhiannon appear to him. The air is clear, the land stretches out beneath them, and all seems at peace, until the mist descends, thick, suffocating, supernatural. When it lifts, every living soul in Dyfed is gone. No voices, no animals, not even the beat of a bird's wings. It's just them, four figures standing on the hill, staring out over a kingdom erased. And in that moment, their laughter dies, because now they're not just a family, they are the last witnesses of a vanished world. The mist clears, and what remains is silence. Not the quiet of dawn or the hush before storm, but a silence so total, so unnatural, that it presses on the lungs like a weight. The four stand on the hill at Narberth and stare out over the kingdom of Dyfed. Villages should be smoking with hearth fires, fields should ripple with cattle, children should be chasing dogs through the grass, but there is nothing. No human voices, no animal calls, not even the buzzing of flies. Dyfed has been hollowed, stripped, erased. At first they hope it is an illusion, that if they walk they will find life waiting, so they descend the hill and begin their search. They walk to the nearest village. The doors hang open, food lies abandoned, a chair tipped over as if someone fled mid-step, but no people, no animals, only the echo of absence. They search the countryside for days, then weeks, months, then years. 2 whole years pass with them walking through Dyfed, their footsteps the only sound. Every house is empty, every barn deserted. The wells draw only water, never voices. The land has not died, it has simply been abandoned, as if every living thing was plucked away in a single instant. Imagine it. Imagine walking through your own town, your own city, and finding every home unlocked, every street deserted, phones buzzing unanswered, cars parked mid-journey, the unsettling stillness of a world that should be alive but isn't. That is Dyfed. It is the kind of emptiness that echoes through the tales we know. Think of Beauty and the Beast, when Beauty's father first stumbles into the Beast's castle, a place glowing with food and fire, but utterly deserted, as if the people have just stepped out and never returned. Or perhaps the TV series Once Upon a Time, where the town of Storybrooke lives under a curse, its people stolen from memory, trapped by someone else's revenge. Dyfed feels like the ancestor of all these stories, a kingdom under spell, emptied not by plague or famine, but by vengeance. For the four, the horror is not only the emptiness, but the waiting. They are not hunted, they are not attacked, they are simply left in a vacuum, surrounded by an absence too large to explain. Cigfa trembles with fear, but clings to Pryderi. Rhiannon, who has known sorrow before, bears it with dignity, though her eyes search every horizon, as if she half expects to see her people return. Pryderi grows restless, pacing, muttering, anger burning hotter with every day of silence. And Manawydan, patient, steady, watches, thinks and plans. After 2 years, the truth becomes unbearable. Dyfed is gone. Whatever curse or spell has fallen, it will not break simply by waiting. And so Manawydan suggests the unthinkable. They must leave their land. They must cross into England and make their living there. It is a bitter decision to abandon your home, not because of war or famine, but because it has been emptied of all that makes it home. But they have no choice. 4 shadows walking through a hollow kingdom, until at last they vanish beyond its borders, seeking survival in exile. They leave Dyfed behind. 4 wanderers carrying no kingdom, no followers, only memory and skill. And in England they set out to survive the only way they can, with their hands. Manawydan, brother of the great Bran the Blessed, is more than just a warrior. He is a thinker, an artisan, and soon, under his guidance, he and Pryderi craft saddles finer than any seen in Hereford. Smooth leather, intricate design, workmanship so flawless it seems touched by magic itself. People marvel at their creations. Demand grows, coins pour into their hands. But admiration quickly curdles into envy. The local saddlers, seeing their livelihoods threatened, whisper among themselves. Who are these outsiders, arriving from nowhere, stealing attention, raising standards no one else can match? Their work is too good, too different, and in every age, difference is dangerous. The saddlers plot murder. Word reaches Manawydan, and once again Pryderi burns with fury. Let us fight, he urges. But Manawydan is cautious. He knows the land is not theirs. He knows open conflict will only end in blood. And so he counsels retreat. They abandon their trade and move on. But the pattern repeats. In another town they make shields. Once again their craftsmanship surpasses all others. Once again locals rise against them, driven not by justice but by jealousy. They move on, becoming shoemakers, and again their shoes are so perfect, so beautiful, that the townsfolk mutter of witchcraft, and again death plots are whispered in the shadows. It is easy to think this is just an old story, but how different is it from today? The creator who builds something extraordinary only to be drowned in envy and accusations. The innovator who is punished not for failure but for success. Across the centuries, one truth remains: to shine too brightly is to draw shadow. At last, weary of exile, Manawydan persuades them to return to Dyfed, to their empty, cursed homeland. Better a silent kingdom of their own than a crowded one where every success is punished. And so they walk once more into the misty lands of Wales. The fields still lie silent. The houses still stand empty. But at least here there are no jealous craftsmen plotting their deaths. Only the mystery of the curse and the fate still waiting to ensnare them. Back in Dyfed, the 4 wanderers try to rebuild a semblance of life. They farm, they craft, they endure. But fate is far from done with them. One morning, as they hunt in the dense, misty forests near Arbroath, they encounter a creature both magnificent and unnatural. A white boar, gleaming like frost in the pale sunlight. Its eyes glimmer with intelligence, and its very presence feels deliberate. The hounds give chase, barking and tearing through the undergrowth, following the boar into a part of the forest that seems to shift and twist. Paths disappearing and reappearing as if the land itself has a will. Manawydan senses danger. Every instinct honed by war and loss warns him. Yet Pryderi, impatient and curious, pushes forward, ignoring caution. The boar leads them to a castle that emerges from the forest as if conjured by the mist itself. Its walls glint faintly, towers twisting into impossible angles suggesting magic or madness. Silence hangs heavy around it. The doors are open, the courtyard's empty, yet the air thrums with otherworldly expectation. Inside the castle they find an astonishing sight. At the heart of the hall hangs a golden cauldron, glowing faintly, suspended above a well. Its beauty is mesmerizing, hypnotic, every gleam promising power, fulfillment, perhaps even immortality. Mabinogion warns Pryderi, do not touch it. But youth and pride prove stronger than caution. Pryderi steps forward, hands outstretched, drawn by its lure. The moment he touches the cauldron, he is frozen, bound, unable to speak, stuck as if the magic itself has claimed him. Rhiannon, seeing her son trapped, rushes to help. Her love overcomes her caution. She reaches him, and she too is ensnared. Together, mother and son are fused to the golden cauldron, their freedom stolen. When night falls, the castle itself vanishes into the forest, leaving nothing behind but empty trees and the faint echo of magic. It is a fortress of death without a corpse, a trap that exists and disappears at will. This is not merely a tale of caution, it is a meditation on temptation, impulse and love. Pryderi's curiosity mirrors every hero who reaches for the forbidden, every story where desire blinds reason. Rhiannon's instinct to save him echoes the truth that love is powerful, but sometimes the power itself is a snare. Again, think of the cursed rose in Beauty and the Beast, the lure of forbidden objects in The Witcher, or the terrifying magical houses in Coraline. These are echoes of the same fear. What is beautiful can kill, what is tempting can bind. And in this castle, in this golden cauldron, the Mabinogi shows it first, centuries before the rest of our fairy tales, horror stories and dark fantasies would follow. Now only Manawydan and Cigfa remain in Dyfed. The kingdom is silent, haunted, and still under the weight of magic. The cauldron has taken Pryderi and Rhiannon, leaving a void that is almost physical, pressing down on the land and its few remaining inhabitants. Mabinogion turns to the oldest work of all, the soil. He sows 3 fields of wheat, tending them with care, as he has tended his mind through the years of loss and exile. For a time there is hope, hope that skill, patience and diligence can restore some semblance of life. But the first field is stripped bare overnight. No footprints, no signs of intrusion, just stalks devoured, a silent attack on his labour. The second field meets the same fate. A creeping dread settles over him. This is no ordinary pest. This is enchantment, clever and malicious. So he waits on the third field. Midnight falls, shadows deepen, and there, amidst the silver light of the moon, he sees them. Mice, hundreds of them, swarming like a living flood, gnawing, stripping, devouring. Yet one mouse is different, larger, slower, fat, almost human in its bearing. Mabinogion seizes it. He decides to hang the mouse for theft, a small justice for a large crime. But then the uncanny begins to twist even further. As he prepares the punishment at the throne of Arbath, 3 figures appear. First a cleric, then a priest, then a bishop. Each pleads, offers ransom. They treat the mouse with reverence and fear. Mabinogion, resolute, refuses to yield. He senses the truth. The mouse is no mere rodent. Finally, the bishop speaks directly, asking him to name his price. And Manawydan does not ask for gold or land. He demands something far greater: the release of Rhiannon and Pryderi, and the lifting of the curse that has hollowed Dyfed. The bishop yields, for he is Llwyd ap Cilcoed, the friend of Gwawl, whose humiliation by Rhiannon decades before sparked this elaborate vengeance. The spell on Dyfed, the enchanted castle, the golden cauldron, even the army of mice were all part of his plan. And the truth of the mice is revealed. The fat mouse Manawydan caught is Llwyd's pregnant wife. The hundreds of others are her ladies-in-waiting and the soldiers of his household, transformed by magic to destroy Manawydan's crops. Through patience, cunning and moral clarity, Manawydan unravels the enchantment. Dyfed returns. Pryderi and Rhiannon are freed. The kingdom, once hollowed by vengeance, begins to breathe again. This story, like so many from the Mabinogi, is more than magic and monsters. It is about wisdom over impulse, cunning over brute strength, and the understanding that even the smallest act, catching a single mouse, can undo a web of destruction. It is also a story about seeing beyond appearances. A rodent is a woman. A ruined field is a test. Silence is a spell. In a world where envy, revenge and illusion are everywhere, the moral is clear. Patience, intelligence and steadfastness are more powerful than swords, gold or even magic itself. The third branch of the Mabinogi may seem quieter than the battles of the second branch, yet its power lies in its subtlety, in the way it explores patience, cunning and the unseen forces that shape our lives. First, there is the resilience in the face of emptiness. Dyfed vanishes, its people are gone, its fields are destroyed, yet Manawydan endures. He does not rage, he does not strike blindly, he observes, adapts and waits. In a modern world where we face upheaval, economic, environmental, personal, this lesson is timeless. True strength often lies in endurance, not in immediate action. Secondly, there is skill and intelligence as survival tools. Manawydan wields leather, wood and soil, not swords. His victories come from craft, thought and moral clarity. Today this resonates in countless ways. The creator building quietly while critics whisper. The worker using skill to survive in a hostile system. The innovator succeeding not by force but ingenuity. Talent and patience can outlast envy and violence. We also have impulse versus restraint. Pryderi lunges for the golden cauldron. Rhiannon rushes to save him, and both are trapped. Manawydan waits. He studies, observes, and acts with care. This is a lesson in the dangers of acting on desire alone, of being blinded by love, pride, or curiosity. Themes echoed in literature, cinema, and even everyday life. Then we have the poison of envy and revenge. The English craftsman, Llwyd's elaborate curse, the enchanted mice, all are products of jealousy and old grudges. Envy corrupts communities. Revenge destroys more than it seeks to punish. This is a caution as relevant now as it was 1,000 years ago. Grudges left unchecked ripple through generations. Finally, there is the importance of seeing beyond appearances. The mouse that is a woman, the empty kingdom that conceals magic, the castle that vanishes. The world is really as it seems. Look carefully. Question the obvious. Wisdom often hides in the smallest, simplest, and most overlooked things. The third branch has echoes in the stories we love today. The white boar and vanishing castle foreshadow magical beasts and enchanted fortresses in fantasy media. The golden cauldron irresistible and deadly, reminds us of cursed objects in The Witcher, Harry Potter and classic fairy tales. The hollowed doved, eerily empty, prefigures post-apocalyptic landscapes in The Walking Dead, I Am Legend, and even abandoned towns we've glimpsed in real life. Yet beyond fantasy, the lesson endures. Patience, wisdom and moral clarity can overcome forces far beyond ordinary human strength. Mabinogion shows that true heroism is not only fighting dragons, sometimes it is waiting, observing and understanding the world enough to act at exactly the right moment. And so concludes the third branch of the Mabinogi, a story of patience, cunning and the endurance of those who refuse to break, even when the world disappears around them. Thank you so much for watching. Your support truly means the world to us. If you haven't yet, please take a moment to check out the other branches of the Mabinogi and some of our other videos. There are countless stories waiting in the shadows of Wales, each one stranger, darker and more haunting than the last. If you feel like giving a little extra, please consider a super thanks. Just a small way to keep us making these videos, but as you know, just being here, watching, listening and sharing your time with us is the most important thing of all. You are part of bringing these legends to life. And as always, we want to hear from you. What did you take from this story? Which character spoke to you the most? Manawydan's patience, Rhiannon's courage, Pryderi's impulsiveness? What lessons lingered for you in the silence of Dyfed? And as we look forward, the fourth branch awaits. A tale where kings clash, fate twists, and magic again tests the limits of human will. Keep your eyes and ears ready, because the journey is far from over. And remember, the past whispers through these stories, but it is up to us to listen and learn. The greatest magic is often not in the cauldron or sword, but in the choices we make every day. Until next time, be careful out there.